This is literally the only video that you'll need to watch on lead generation, because I'm going to show you exactly how to set up a full end-to-end lead generation system that you can use to generate thousands of leads for your business. And after not only helping over 400 businesses scale their lead generation strategy, but being able to scale our businesses to over $8 million in revenue, I can confidently say that I have the lead generation down to a science. So by the end of this video, you'll be able to implement the exact strategy that I've used that you can implement in your business. Today, lead gen means finding customers who are interested in buying what it is that you're selling. To do this well, you really need 7 different parts, which I'm going to cover in today's video. But what I see a lot when it comes to lead gen, and really the problem with a lot of people when they are doing lead gen, is they're relying on old school or inefficient tactics on ways to generate leads. They're trying to send emails to anybody with a pulse. They're just throwing a message out and hoping that it sticks. They're not taking time actually coming up with a strategy. They're spreading themselves thin across multiple strategies, hoping that it's going to work, or they're using tactics that just simply no longer work anymore. And what this does for a lot of businesses, it just simply drains energy, it drains resources at the company, and keeps them in the cycle of feast or famine, constantly guessing in that anxiety of chasing down your next client and figuring out where your next client's actually going to come from. What we need when it comes to lead gen is we need something that is predictable, so we don't rely on feast or famine months. We actually can know where our next customer is going to come from. We need something that is scalable, meaning that it is easy to go up without burning a bunch of money, without having to add more labor to your plate or hire more people. And we need something that is automated. Okay, we are in the digital age, and when it comes to lead generation, there should be no excuse for not automating your lead gen so that you can keep your pipeline full. So with this in mind, we need to make sure that we are picking the right tools for lead generation, we are picking the right methods for lead generation, and we are doing lead generation the modern way. We can use tools like Instantly.ai to automate our lead gen. We can use tools like Instantly's Lead Finder to find the quantity of leads that we need to do. There's plenty of software out there that give us the metrics and the ability to scale our lead gen efforts without adding more hours to our plate, and making sure that we're staying in front of the customers in an automated, scalable, and creating a predictable way for us to actually get clients. So the first things first is we need to figure out who our ideal customer is. If we're marketing to everybody, we are marketing to nobody. What used to work in the past was, I'm going to spit my message out to everybody. I'm going to do outbound to everyone. I'm going to market to everybody because the competition was so slim. But in today's day and age, people are becoming more and more numb to the fact that there are a ton of advertisements. We're seeing thousands of advertisements subconsciously, and it's harder and harder to stand out in a crowded market. So it is super important that we're defining our ideal customer. And when I say ideal customer, I'm not just saying business owner. We need to understand what it is that makes them irk. We need to understand what it is that their desires are. And we need to know exactly how we can solve the pain points of the customers, which is going to be really important when we are doing lead generation. So when it comes to finding our ideal customers, I like to use Instantly, because Instantly allows us to basically use their built-in lead finder, and I can filter by my ideal customer. So let's just say I'm targeting plumbers. What I can do is I can go to keywords and I can type in something like plumbers. So if I can go to industry, I can type in keywords. I can include plumbers, plumbing, HVAC perhaps, and I can pick a location, California in general. I can get really granular on who it is that I'm reaching out to. And even further, if my offer, what it is that I'm actually selling, serves specific people in a specific revenue range, I can even get pinpointed on that. This allows me to get really specific with the message that I'm going to be sending to that specific customer, because a $50 million problem is going to be a lot different than a $500,000 a year problem. So what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to speak to the customers that it is that we're identifying. The next thing that we need to focus on is our offer. What is it that we're actually selling that's going to get one of your ideal clients to raise their hand and say, yes, I'm interested in working with you. Yes, I want to learn more information. The problem that we see a lot when it comes to offers is they're too soft, or they're not actually speaking to the customers. What we think when we say offer is we think marketable, outcome-driven, productized, and actually speaks to the pain points of the customers. The problem with a lot of offers that we're seeing, again, is that they're very deliverable-based. They're just trying to sell the deliverables that they actually do for them. So when it comes to offer, there's really 2 things that we need to really understand. The first thing is we need to understand the pain points. What is the pain of our customer? But when I say pain points, I'm not saying, oh, you don't have time, or you're struggling to create content, or you're struggling to post consistently. It's like, no, we need to understand our ideal customers, and we need to speak to the pain points of our ideal customers. And the easiest way to do this, guys, for me at least, is to go to ChatGPT and simply just prompt it. I work with, let's just say, online coaches, and I help them create leads through Instagram using ads and content creation and appointment setter. That's typically what people would say in a cold email or in a message. So what I want to do is I want to make the pain points of my customers extremely marketable and dial in my offer so that it actually speaks to my customers. I'm going to give you more specific. Online coaches doing $20K a month, and I help them scale to $100K a month by creating leads. Give me the top 10 pain points in ones that speak their language, keep them up at night, and are costing them the most amount of money. What this is going to generate is this is going to generate where we're going to kind of stick that knife in, where we're going to poke at our customers to get them to emotionally respond so that we can actually get responses. So you're still going to generate a steady stream of leads that convert into clients, leading to unpredictable revenue month to month. You're spending money on Instagram ads that don't produce a significant ROI. You're not having enough time. So give me implications of these and speak their language, make it hurt. This is what we're marketing, guys. We are marketing the implications of the pain points. So what you're going to do, I would just pick 5 of them, and this becomes our offer and our messaging. This is a massive difference than we'll generate leads for you. No, we want to speak to the implication of, hey, if you're dealing with feast or famine months, like 1 month you're scraping by, the next, like that becomes our message that gets people to actually respond. Then the next is really simple, guys. It's just the outcomes. What are the desired outcomes of our customers? What is it that they actually want? We're marketing the desired outcomes, the pain points that these customers are dealing with, so that when we do begin lead generation, our marketing is actually sticky. So same thing, guys. I would just say, what are the top 5 desired outcomes? Consistent, predictable lead flow. That's what we're marketing. We're not marketing, we're going to create content for you, we're going to edit your videos. Like that is now going to be a profitable marketing message for you, and that's going to leave you back at square one. So this becomes the forefront of our offer, and we need to make sure our offer is in fact marketable and outcome driven. So we need to really audit what it is that we're even selling to our ideal customers that we found, and how can I make sure my offer actually speaks to the pain points and the outcomes that will emotionally get them to provoke a response, aka reach back out to you, aka want to do business with you, aka work with you. After we have our ideal clients down, our offer, now what we need to think about are what are the different lead gen methods as it pertains to actually getting clients. So there's a few that I'm going to hit on very, very quickly. First things first is going to be cold email. So the thing that I love about cold email is that it's scalable, it's automated, it's easy to find the customers, it's analytics driven, all things necessary that provide a recipe in order to have success with cold email. Assuming that we have our ideal clients, we have a really solid offer from a mechanism perspective on actually outreaching people. This is a really good way to actually get in front of people at scale, at volume, because business owners are using email and they are actively checking their email. And when it comes to lead gen, what do we want to do? We want to go to where the attention of our customers are. Now, I would say most business owners are on their emails. When it comes to cold emails, one of the biggest problems that I see is throwing stuff against the wall, hoping something sticks. They're sending 200 emails a week thinking that it's going to actually get them success, or they're basically just copy and pasting the same email over and over and over again and hoping that they're going to be able to scale by doing manual work. And the problem with all of this stuff is you're not actually creating a system for lead gen. So what we need to do when it comes to lead generation is we need to come up with something that is actually scalable. When it comes to cold email, what I love about it, especially using a tool like instantly.ai, is in fact extremely scalable. If I go to my lead finder, for example, if I find CEOs in California and I want them to be in the industry of legal services, law practice, what I'm able to do is I'm able to pull basically a list directly from here. Now what I can do is I can go ahead and I can save this search. I can go to my campaigns. I can create a new campaign. I can say law firm, continue. I can go ahead and add the leads from the lead finder in a couple of clicks. Just click add to campaign, add into law firm, add to campaign. In addition, when it comes to sending cold emails from an automation perspective, what we don't want to be doing is we don't want to be copy and pasting an email, sending it one by one. That is one way that you're never going to get into the inbox, one, because you're going to be flagged as spam very quickly, and two, burn yourself out on lead gen and not get results because you're not actually sending the right amount of volume. What I love about instantly.ai is that I can simply buy domains and start sending the volume that I want to be sending from the jump. What we don't want to do is we don't want to burn our domains. Oftentimes people will send manual emails, or they'll send like an email blast from their personal email, and all of a sudden all their emails start going to spam. They're like, why the heck am I going to spam? Well, it's because your email service provider is indicating that you're spamming a bunch of people, which you technically are from your personal email. So what we want to do is we want to buy domains and set up specific emails for those specific domains and send from those specific domains. It can be a really technical, long drawn out process that can be completely avoidable using a tool like Instantly in a couple of clicks. Like, let's just say my business name is Agency U. I could just basically type in my domain, and then what will populate is a couple of similar domains if I wanted it. And then what I'm able to do is I'm able to select a couple of these, click next, and it will automatically set up the emails for me from the similar domain. I can just set up a forwarding domain from there. And what it's going to do is it's going to warm up those domains. So when I do start sending the emails, it will actually end up in the inbox, and it's not going to end up in spam folder, which is going to be huge. The next mechanism is organic content. There's been a huge rise of organic content because it's becoming harder and harder to build trust with people. Like I mentioned before, we are in the trust recession. People don't trust advertisers because we're getting hit with so many different advertisements left and right. How do we combat that? How do we actually build trust with people? Organic content. Position yourself as an authority. The problem that I see is people neglect this, and then they wonder why their lead generation strategy isn't working. Well, it's because nobody trusts you. So what I would recommend doing, if you're doing like LinkedIn outreach or doing Facebook ads or doing cold email even, start creating content, because what the people are going to do, what the leads are going to do is they're going to do research on you. And if they look at your Instagram, if they look at your YouTube video, and there's no value, there's no humanization, there's no sense of trust, and it's going to be really hard to convert them. Time block once a month where you can basically script out a month's worth of content and start creating content consistently. Use a tool like ChatGPT and just basically prompt it with the pain points and the outcomes of what are some pieces of content that I could create. What are some LinkedIn and Instagram and YouTube topics I could cover in posts for my customer? And what this will generate is organic trust building content that will allow you to stay consistent, allow you to build trust, and ultimately increase the likelihood that the lead generation strategies that you're using are actually going to convert. The third lead gen method that we can hit on is going to be ads, specifically meta ads. That's what I'm going to hit on right now from like a B2B perspective. I mean, we spend a lot of money on ads because it simply works. And what we like to do from like an ad perspective is we've been really digging what we call DM ads, which is basically instead of going to a VSL, instead of watching this training video, instead of opting in via a form and having to chase the people down, we're just prompting people to DM us a specific keyword. If our customers are the online coaches, we would say, hey, if you're stuck in a content cycle of feast or famine, 1 month you're scraping by, and the next month you have no idea next client is coming from, that unpredictably is probably eating away your confidence and cash flow and is burning you out trying to constantly chase new leads without a system in place. If you want to learn how we can help you bring in leads without having to chase them down every single day and give you a steady stream of high quality prospects, filling your calendar without the roller coaster of good and bad months, just DM me the word leads and I'll shoot you over more information on how our process works. And that allows us to basically have a conversation inside the direct messages and set the appointments directly inside of there without having to chase them down from a lead form, without having to hope that they watch a 15-minute training and book a call from there. It's a very simple way that actually provokes a response, and it's easy for us to follow up on. So all in all, when it comes to lead gen methods, again, the common denominator here is we need to be really specific with our ideal customer. We need to be really clear on our offer, and we want to choose the method that's going to be scalable. If I was you and I'm watching this video, I'm like, oh gosh, this is a lot. These are a lot of different methods that I could do. I would start with cold email and organic content. Prioritize the cold email just because it's really efficient and a quick and easy way to actually do it. And it's not going to cost you a lot of money to actually get started with this. And the organic content is basically free if you have a phone to create content. And if you have a profile, that's pretty much all you really need to start building the trust with those people. And then the third thing, once you master these and start to predictably get new clients, then that's when I would introduce the third arm. But do not try all three of these or 10 different methods at once, because if you try to master multiple things at once, you will master none of them. And the other cool thing about Instantly is with my leads, what I'm also able to do is I can create personalized lines using AI in a couple of clicks, and I'm able to create sequences for my cold emails, meaning I can basically add all of my follow-ups if I wanted to. I can even have AI write my sequence for me in a couple of clicks, which is making it a complete no-brainer for me to use cold email as a means of getting in front of people. Again, lead generation is all about just getting in front of your ideal customer, and we want to do this in the most automated and easy way possible, and Instantly just makes it so easy to do. The next thing that we really need to focus on is going to be our creative. When we think about creative, when I'm looking at something like cold email, that's going to be our email copy. I have an opener, and then I have 4 times follow-ups. So what I'm going to do with my opener is that's going to be basically the introduction of the pain point and the desired outcome and how I can help them out. And then from that opener, I'm going to have 4 follow-ups that are going to be following up on that specific opener. When it comes to cold email, the purpose of sending cold emails when we're doing lead generation strategy is we want to make it not seem like a cold email because again, trust recession. People don't know you. We're sending cold emails. It's faceless. They don't trust you. So what we want to be able to do is we want to make our cold emails basically feel like it's not a cold email. And how do we do that? Well, we actually know our ideal customers. We know the pain points of our ideal customers. We know the desired outcomes of our ideal customers. And we use a method in a software like Instantly.ai so that we can make sure our creative is on freaking point. Using Instantly.ai in our creative, what we're able to do is we're able to create personalized lines. So what I would simply do, I could create a unique opening line and I could generate a personalized line for all the leads. Or I could choose from the hundreds of prompts that are built in here, or I could create my own prompt and use that based off of the information that I'm getting from the lead that I'm able to actually send to. Then once I have that, and in addition to that, what I'm able to do is I'm able to write my sequences directly in here so that I can basically see what opener is working the best. I can test different openers and I can follow up without having to actually lift a finger other than just writing the initial email. So when it comes to cold email, all we really need to do is, again, make it not seem like a cold email and speak to the desired outcomes and the pain points of our customers. Cold email is going to be about volume, timing, and offer. So knowing that, we need to make sure that we're sending the right amount of volume. We're getting enough ideal clients to send to. We have the timing, meaning the pain points that you're talking about are actually resonating with them at that specific time in their business. And then offer. Your offer actually prompts a response. For this example, I would say something like, "Hi, John. We recently helped an online coach generate 80K in new business last month using our online DM ad method. Noticed you're also in this space and thought it could be a quick way to add to example." So in this case, this is going to be very case study heavy. We recently helped an online coach generate 80K in new business last month using an online DM funnel without relying on word of mouth, referrals, or spraying and praying with their ads. Notice you're also in the space and a good way to add to your top line. Can I show you a video how the strategy works? PS, our clients typically get 6x ROAS. What I basically did is I just looked at the pain points that we came up with, which is like inconsistent lead gen, ad spend wasting, and I'm speaking to those and I'm using that in my copy. So that's a basic fundamental of the creative when it comes to cold email. And then our follow-ups, basically we're following up, hey, just following up, seeing if I could send over that video, speak to another one of their pain points again and again. That is the mechanism here when it comes to our creative. And then if you wanted to test a different campaign, super easy to do. So I just click and save this campaign. I can literally go to campaigns. I can create a new campaign. And then what I'm going to do with that campaign is I'm going to test a different angle. I'm going to test different pain points so that I can see which angle actually works. So this is the theory, the cold email, the opener. Call to action is always adding value, and we're speaking to the pain points and the desired outcomes, leading with proof so that we can trust them. And then the call to action is always going to be, can I add something of value? We are not here to book a call from cold email because they have no idea who you are. We want to add value to them. The next thing that we really need to focus on is going to be our automation and scaling this. One of the most important things when it comes to lead generation is we need to make sure that it is automated and it is actually scalable. I see so many people trying to scale cold DMs, sending messages, cold messages all of the time, basically just trying to scale the unscalable. And the problem with this is eventually you're going to convert some clients and then you're going to completely run out of time to do lead gen. And guess what's going to suffer? Your lead gen is going to suffer, and you're going to deal with those yo-yo months and those months of feast and famine for your business because you don't have a way to predictably get new clients. And again, there are tools out there that completely automate this for us. For example, like Instantly. I just showed you exactly how to set up a new campaign inside of Instantly. And once I'm able to launch this campaign, all I really need to do is sit back and let the positive replies flow in. So once I actually launch the campaign, what's going to happen is people are going to start sending emails back to us. And this means I'm not going to have to open up multiple different accounts to see if I'm getting responses, and it's going to be like a lot of time managing. All I'm going to be able to do is I'm just going to be able to open up a tool like Instantly's Unibox and be able to see the positive responses in here and quickly manage them. So I'm able to see exactly who's responding, the positive replies, all that sort of stuff, and be able to book calls directly from the Unibox. And what's also cool about a tool like Instantly is it automatically filters it using AI. If I go to like my CRM and if I go to my opportunities, I'm able to see how many people have sent a positive reply. I'm able to use a CRM. And when it comes to scalability, it all comes down to adding more emails, getting more lists. And with Instantly's Lead Finder, it's really easy for me to find a lot of lists. Or if I have access to other lists, it's really easy to basically just import more leads into my campaigns using a CSV file, using the lead finder, whatever it could be, my Google Sheet, or I could set up an automation that automatically adds leads to my campaign. So the automation and scalability is a game changer here, and really like none other else, without having to set up a bunch of automations and all of that sort of stuff. Because if you're running ads, like, yeah, you can automate it and scale it, but there is going to be a little bit of manual work / having the acumen to use tools like Zapier or other automation tools in order to automate the lead generation efforts or the actual physical appointment setting, which we in fact want to avoid. The next thing that we need to do is we need to figure out, how do I get our clients from cold to sold? And that really becomes our process, right? Like, design beats willpower. One thing that Alex Hormozi always talks about is the sign of a good salesperson or a sales team is not their technique. It's not their ability to convince or persuade. It's their ability to follow a process. When it comes to your lead generation strategy, if you're used to referrals, word of mouth, whatever, it is significantly different than a cold person who has no idea who you are. And the difference is we need to actually follow a process of getting them from cold to sold. And it's a lot harder if they're not a referral or they're not somebody who's been just basically teed up on a silver platter. What we like to do is we basically create like a positive reply protocol or an appointment setting framework. So let's just say somebody replies on cold email. What we're going to be able to do is we're going to send value. We're going to understand their situation. So we're going to understand their goals. We're going to understand their roadblocks, and we're going to sell new methods. So for example, let's just say somebody comes in, and then if we don't get along these lines, there's going to be a lot of, if not an aggressive amount of follow-ups, more times, more ways. So this is the protocol if we get basically somebody to opt in on an ad, somebody to opt in on an email. So what we're going to do is we're going to send them value. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to understand their situation. What are you currently doing? Got it. When it comes to like lead generation, what are you currently doing? Got it. And like, what is like the goal when it comes to like predictably getting new clients? Awesome. What has been stopping you from getting there? Perfect. Sounds like you're struggling with predictability and you're wasting a lot of money on ads. Like, would love to jump on a call and show this new method of how we're able to get clients from where they are to where they want it, whatever it could be. And we sell the new method on getting them on a call, and we just follow this framework. If we do not hear from them, we are aggressively following up more times in more ways, meaning we are following up on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on TikTok, on email, on phone, on SMS. Any way that we can get a hold of them, we're going to continue to follow up with them at least 4 times until we get a response, and then we continue back on the framework of where we're at. So if we can follow an appointment setting framework, a positive reply protocol, then this will actually get them to the next step, which will be to actually book an appointment with you. What we do is we send them a calendar invite, and we have a pre-call process. So basically on the pre-call process, what we're doing is we're sending them a video sales letter to watch before we jump on a call to basically pre-sell them on the service, which basically tells them how we're able to help get our clients from where they are to where they want to go, showing some case studies in there, etc., etc. What we're also going to do is we're going to send case studies 24 hours before appointment as an appointment reminder, and then we actually have appointment. And then on the appointment, we're not just winging it. We're not just saying, we're following a very rigid framework to get clients from where they are to where they want to go. Similar to the appointment setting framework, we're going to understand their current situation, we're going to understand their goals, we're going to understand their roadblocks, and then we're going to basically sell the new method and get them bought into the process of how we get our clients from where they are to where they want to go. So what we need to do is we need to create that framework so that we can just follow that every single time. We don't need to recreate the wheel. And afterwards, what we're doing is we have a follow-up protocol. So what we do is we have an AI agent send recap email to avoid proposals. If it is a 2-call close, we always book a call before the call ends. We never send proposals. We just say, okay, when's the next time that we can actually book a call? And then follow-up protocol, we have an AI agent send a recap email, and we follow up if we do not hear back from them after the final call and the actual close call. And of course, in the framework, we have all the objections, how to handle the objections, and how to bring light to any, the price seems too expensive, I need to talk to my partner. All of the objections that you could come up with, we need to have those pre-written out so that we can just handle them on the call, because because objections are just smoke screens. Like, they're not worried about the price, they're worried about not seeing the value, and you didn't do a good job explaining the value on the call, so you just need to reiterate that to them. And the follow protocol as well, AI agents send them a recap email, and then some sort of drip campaign that keeps you top of mind and ultimately showing proof. So it is, again, one thing to get a client from a referral teed up on a silver platter, and it is one thing to get somebody from cold to sold, and that is the framework to actually do it. So ideal clients, our offers dialed in, we have pretty solid lead gen methods, we know our creative, we know how to speak to our desired outcomes and pain points of our customers, know how to automate this and scale this and get people to cold to sold. The last thing that we really need to hone in on is analyzing the metrics. When it comes to lead gen, like, we need to take our emotions out of it, we need to take how we feel about something out of it, and all we really need to do is we just need to look at the data, because the data is the only source of truth when it comes to getting actual results for our clients. What we like to look for, like from a cold email perspective, let's just start there, is I'm looking at the reply rates as the number one metric for us. Secondarily, you can track basically like positive reply rates to know that, like, okay, are all the replies just like unsubscribe, or are people actually opting in? So for example, when I'm using cold email, what I'm doing is I'm just simply going to my analytics and I can see, cool, so today we sent 360 emails and we got 4 replies. So I can see that my reply rate from yesterday to today has been 2.8% with 2 actual opportunities. So I can see that I had 7 replies, which gives me a 2.8% reply rate, which is fantastic, because what I'm looking for from a reply rate is, in fact, that 2 to 4% range, depending on the offer, depending on what it is that we're offering for them. And then what I can also see is my positive reply rate, which would be the opportunities. From the 7 replies, if I got 2 positive replies, 2 opportunities as a result from that, that would mean my positive reply rate is 2 divided by 7, which is about 29%. So it'd be 28% of the replies are positive replies, which is a great indicator. And if I got 2 opportunities from 720, then I can basically do 2 divided by 720, which is not a bad metric to optimize for. So now, knowing this from an analyzation perspective, if I send 1,000 emails, if I'm getting around 3% reply rates, I should expect to get 30 replies. And then from the 30 replies, I should expect to get around 7 or so positive replies or 7 actual leads. And knowing this, all I really need to do is scale that up. So if I want potentially 70 leads, how many emails do I need to send? I need to send 10,000. And that becomes where data is really going to be our best friend, and also allows us, if we're not hitting our metrics, okay? If we're not hitting our metrics, what's going on? I need to change the copy. I need to get a better list. I need to change the copy on the campaigns. I need to switch everything up so that I can make informed decisions based off of that. From an ad perspective, we want to look for anywhere from $20 to $30 cost per lead. And what we want to be able to do is we want to also optimize for around 15 to 25% lead to booking ratio. So that means for every lead that we get, we're booking 15 to 25% of the people from the people that responded as in fact a lead. So these are the metrics that we've created based off of what we've been able to generate from different channels. And this becomes our baseline that we're able to actually scale up from. If we're not analyzing, if we're not making decisions based off of what we're analyzing, we'll never be able to actually have productive lead generation, because we're basically blindfolding ourselves and spraying and praying. Like, if we really want to scale our lead generation strategy, we need to analyze, we need to have good analyzing tools, and we need to know what levers to pull, whether it's your close rate sucks, whether it's your creative sucks and you're not actually getting people to respond, whether your lead gen method is just not working for your specific customer, whether your offer and the pain points that you're talking about aren't working, whether your list sucks, whatever it could be. We now have the levers that we need to pull based off of the analyzation that we're getting from the analyzing that we're doing at our level. So from overall, like, what we should be able to do is we should be able to close anywhere from 25 to 35% of appointments, especially if we're following the cold to sold protocol. So that means every 10 calls that you're booking, you should be able to get 3 deals at minimum for it, especially if you're a founder salesperson. Should be a complete no-brainer. And that is everything that you need to implement this strategy for yourself. But obviously there's more to learn than what I just showed you, and I don't have time to go through every single thing. And you still really need to know what this lead generation strategy actually looks like in practice. And what if I told you that I challenged my friend that in 10 hours, I could start and sell a service completely from scratch? Well, we did. So go ahead and click here on the screen to watch that video where I walk you through how exactly you can do this in real time alongside basically just with me. And what you can do is you can just copy and paste exactly what I did so that you can steal the same strategies to effectively get more leads and ultimately scale your business. So check that video and we will see you on the next one.